welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips here on yikesradio.com. Now, you know, here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying,
yikesradio.com.
Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, those are the sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. And as you know, Mr. Nash is the owner of this proprietorship here at the Poetry of Justice show. And I always give a shout out to Mr. Nash and let him know how much I appreciate his passion and love, child. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do what I so love to do here on the Poetry of Justice show. Ladies and gentlemen, and so what we're going to do now is kind of give some shout outs to our sponsorship. But before I do that, I'm going to give a very special shout out to a very young, sweet young lady I had a chance to speak to yesterday, Emerald, in North Carolina. So I want to give you your shout out, Emerald. And then I want to give a very special shout out to another beautiful young lady I got a chance to meet today. And that is Kiana. Kiana, she's out in Arkansas. And Erica, you ladies have been amazing. And thank you so much for all your help and working with me the last couple of days. And so I'm going to give a very special shout out to one of the sponsorships here with this Gingy Productions and Entertainment Company, ladies and gentlemen. That is Lori G. And how are you doing tonight, Miss Lori G?
I am doing well. Little technology challenge, but I'm working with it.
That's all right, Mama Sita. But we're also going to give a very special shout out to the ladies of the chat. We have the ladies of the chat in the house tonight. And you know, that is every third Saturday here in the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips. You get a chance to hear and see those beautiful ladies. And then we're going to go on ahead and give a shout out to G Babies Catering, ladies and gentlemen, our sponsorship here on the show. You want to check out Chef Mac, and you can find him on Instagram. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Chef Mac at G Babies Catering. And then I like to give shout out to what kind of anchors us here, ladies and gentlemen, what we say, who we call the Man of Steel here on the Poetry of Justice show. That is WMPJ Steelworks Incorporated. We say thank you to you and your contributions, ladies and gentlemen. And I know the music has kept going, but I got to give one more shout out to APS Muscle Cars, ladies and gentlemen. So I know that oftentimes is a mouthful when we get ready to take off here on the Poetry of Justice show. We've got the ladies of the chat back in the house. We've got our YouTube live stream up and running. We have our Facebook going. We have our Zoom room happening tonight. So shoot, we're going to have a funky good time. How are you doing tonight, Miss Shelly C? Uh-oh. Shelly's on
Shelly,
mute.
you are muted.
Oh, sorry, I was double muted. I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
So we good, lady. How you? Good to see you, beautiful lady. And Miss Tanya Michelle, how are you tonight, lovely?
I am doing good.
Good. Well, you're looking all snazzy. So we've got the ladies of the chat. But look, ladies, look who we have in the house tonight. By popular demand, we have back here with us tonight. Literally by popular demand, ladies and gentlemen. I bull jive you not. We have none other than Mr. Rodney Lister in the house tonight. How are you, Rodney?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back. In popular demand.
And you are in popular demand because what they call, Lloyd, this is called the home stretch, Lloyd. What do we call this?
It is.
The home stretch, turn at third base.
Oh my goodness
Heading
gracious. The mayoral race of the city of Compton. Can you maybe, right? Is that Tanya Michelle? So, Rodney, I'm going to go ahead and just turn this over to you a little bit, let you kind of do your thing. I know you're going to hang out with us a tad, but I want you to handle your business first, sir, if you don't mind.
Well, you know, it's been a grueling campaign, good campaign. Learned a lot. Learned a lot. And if I had to do it over again, I would.
You would?
I would.
All right.
I mean,
that's a good thing.
You know, if you believe in your city, you got to ride with your city, right?
And in yourself.
Right. So I've grown a lot, but I'm just looking forward to the next chapter. Looking forward to Tuesday, the 20th.
I know. So when do you think we'll know when we will know?
They'll probably have an initial count that evening at 8:30, 9 o'clock, because right now in-person voting is going on at Burrell McDonald Park, at Ludus Park, at Gonzalez Park and at Compton College
Mhm.
each day
Okay.
from 10 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Then on Tuesday from 8 to 8.
Okay.
So, because that's election day.
Yes.
And so it takes a while for those ballots to all get to the Norwalk station and put into the system and count. Legally, they can't count the ballots until 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So all the ballots that have been submitted via mail and Dropbox, they're just stored,
Okay.
waiting to go.
Ready to go.
So
Okay.
around 8:15, 8:30, you'll probably have that first count
Okay.
of all those ballots that were received.
Yes.
And then around 9:30 or so, you have that next wave of ballots that came in from people actually voting early and voting on Tuesday.
Wow.
But since you have until the 20th to have your ballot postmarked, you might have a lot of ballots still coming in the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So I don't expect a full count to about 26
Okay.
plus or minus, because
26 forever.
well because right, I'm like, oh my god, sorry.
golly.
But if it's mailed on the 20th, you gotta
Right.
allow maybe 3 days or so to get from wherever you mailed it from
Mhm.
to Norwalk.
Okay.
That it goes in their bin, someone has to walk it somewhere
Mhm.
for that part of it. So I'm just thinking at the latest, because legally anything that's postmarked the 20th, they have to count.
Okay.
But by that point in time, they'll probably have a good idea.
Okay.
And then we'll see what's next.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's me. But
We're going to be doing a
Yeah.
congratulatory
yeah,
broadcast.
I'm looking forward
Hopefully
to
live from the mayor's office.
Right.
Right? Tanya,
Well,
Miss-
probably my backyard. I don't have an office.
You don't have
yet.
office
I
yet.
know.
We'll be in the backyard though.
That sounds good. I was going to open up the floor to the ladies of the chat and see if you ladies had any questions for Mr. Lister tonight. Part of his campaign trail.
You're on mute, Tanya.
I didn't have any questions, but I wanted to say, I think it's great that you took the time out to explain the ballot process so that people understand it. I think we learned that this last election that, you have to know the process, that the answer could be for a couple of days. Your emotions could go up and down. So I think that is great that you explained the process as well.
Thank you.
What about you, Tanya Michelle?
Yeah, I was going to add to that. I think I'm just concerned about the process for me. I think that after the last presidential election, I wish they would have changed it, like where the absentee ballots can come in earlier. They had an earlier date, or there was some different type of chain of custody. It's like, because, you're depending on the postal service to say whether something is stamped by a certain time, and then whether it goes to the next, to the next step. And I just wish it was a different chain of custody for it, because I don't know if that last election, it was like all that stuff became kind of weird. And you really don't know to this day if everybody's vote really counted, right? You just know. So I would hate for something like that to happen to you when you represent the city of Compton. You have all this passion behind it, and then just things are just not handled in the right way. So I was hoping we could change all that after this last election, but I don't know what it would look like.
The interesting thing is that, and what you say is excellent points, excellent concerns. In addition to putting your ballot into the mail, there are 4 drop boxes that only the county has access to in Compton that you could drop your ballot off at also. And they're collected every night after 8 o'clock. So there are 4, the library, City Hall, Luders Park, and Gonzalez Park. And there's one more at this county island in Carson called Hemingway Park. So for people who might have the concerns that you mentioned as far as the postal service and it being delayed, what the election department did do with last election for president that was brilliant, you're able to track your ballot. So when you complete your ballot and you seal it and you sign it, on the backside, there's a number next to a scan box. And you just write that number down, and you go to the county website and you register your number, and you get alerts. So for last election for the president and other offices, when my ballot was picked up by the post office, I got a text saying your ballot's been picked up. When it reached the election office, I got a text saying your ballot has reached the county election office. And then when it was scanned, I got a third text saying your vote has been cast.
Right, it's counted.
And so they took those steps to do that. Additionally, with the in-person ballot, suppose you don't want to go to a ballot box, and
Right.
suppose you don't trust the postal system, then you do have the option of going and being traditional,
Right.
walking up, casting a ballot, watching it ping, zip off, and all that.
Okay.
So the questions and concerns that she mentioned are very legitimate.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's really good to know, and I'm glad that I actually, took a chance to even say it. Because at first I wasn't going to say anything about it because it's all skepticism, right? But I'm glad that I did say that, so that now the people that's listening, they know that there's really a
Hmm.
safe and secure mechanism at it. Because I didn't know, because I didn't do the absentee ballot, so I didn't know about the scanning and the alerts and stuff like that. I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
and that's a great question because a lot of people have those concerns, and they're fair concerns, especially what happened with the postal service prior to this last election for the first time ever. So now everyone's questioning that, and I always laugh because I always say, a lot of things get lost in the mail, but my bills never got lost in the mail.
Right.
I wish those would get lost in the mail.
No, your bills don't get
Those
lost in
keep
the mail.
coming.
Never, ever,
Yeah,
never,
but I
ever,
was
ever.
really impressed with the alerts that I would get. I
Mm.
knew every step that what was happening to my ballot. And so did my children. They're of age to vote. So they, the alerts that they were getting, you knew where your ballot was going. And if your ballot was going to be rejected, you would know that too,
Yes, yes,
for whatever reason. Yeah.
and if you mailed it in early enough and it got rejected because the signature wasn't right, they
Mhm.
will allow you time to come down
Correct
and
it.
rectify it.
Mhm.
So, and I tell people every 2 or 3 years, go ahead and do a brand new registration form because, and I'm a nerd, so I read all kind of science stuff, but science has shown that for a lot of people, your signatures change over a period of time.
That's so true.
Right.
And they said that on average, women's signatures tend to stay more consistent
Then
than men
Okay.
for whatever reason. So every
That's
2 or 3
interesting.
years, just go ahead and do a new ballot,
Mm-hmm.
and your old signature will get removed,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and your new signature
I like that.
will take precedence. So a lot of times, your signatures don't match up. They aren't rejecting it because of anything beyond doesn't
Right.
match up, and
Right.
they use a scantron to actually compare signatures
Mhm.
Okay.
versus the
I
human
didn't
eye.
know
So,
that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Not until this last thing. And you learn a whole
Mhm.
lot of stuff, but in
yes,
some states,
we all became experts.
yes, in some states they do have it scans the signatures as they go through. I didn't know they did it here in Cali, but because we have them a little bit more sense, but they scan the signatures next to each other in some of those states. A lot of the states that people were making controversy in, they actually had signature checks. So rumors, especially on social media, may not always be true, but there's a lot of states out there that practice that same thing. I didn't know Cali did though. That's cool.
Well, Mr. Lister, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I haven't done research, but I have heard when there is not like a presidential election or a congressman election, that the turnout tends to be a lot lower
A lot
than
lower.
during those times.
Yes.
What encouragement or inspiration can you provide our listeners so they can get out there and make sure they make this as important as a presidential election?
Well, that's a great question. But it's a two-part question.
Okay.
Regarding the first part, historically, the voter turnout on non-presidential, non-congressional elections is lower
Mm-hmm.
because people tend to care more about who's going to be the next senator,
Mm-hmm.
or in some cases, governor,
Mhm.
or congressperson or president. So if you notice, a lot of times bond issues will go on presidential ballots
Okay.
because more people are more likely to vote.
Right.
And a lot of
Yes.
bonds need 75%, or not 75%, a certain percentage over majority to pass. So to rectify that, I think what should happen, and what California did is California said that they wanted all jurisdictions to vote at the same time of the state offices. So when the governor ran, they wanted votes at that time. When the president ran, they wanted votes at that time to increase voter participation. The city of Compton didn't do it. The city of Compton is the charter city, which essentially means they can do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
They don't have to seek permission from the county board of supervisors or the state. They're their own independent entity.
Okay.
And it came up some years ago about doing it, getting on the same ballot as a presidential. So in theory, this current election should have happened in November. You would have had a greater turnout and more participation. So what this is the crazy part. Because of the infighting on the council, individuals didn't want certain other individuals to have an extra year in office. Because essentially you have to get off the odd number to get on the even number. That means that somebody would get one extra year. And because of the infighting, I might not care for you. So I said, no, we're gonna stay where we are because I don't want you to get an extra year.
Right.
And hopefully if I win, when I win,
That's right. When you
win,
absolutely.
that changes. So yeah, it's very low turnout. It hovers very low. So
Right. Cool. All right. Well, this is your moment. Come on. I think the last time you were here, we grilled you with lots of questions about
great
corruption,
questions.
about what are your qualifications.
Great questions.
And guys, joining us, coming on is going to be our man who did all of our videos, Mr. Lawrence P. He's amazing, guys. So we got some technical things going on with him. I might have to switch headphones because I don't think his is long enough.
It ain't long enough. But we gonna fix it.
We gonna fix it. We working on it.
We're gonna make it work, right? What up? How you doing now?
Man, just in here contributing my professional bachelor opinion.
There you go.
Hopefully it could elevate women out there.
As we need it.
Yeah. But to answer your question real quickly, I look at the field of the other people running, and I know that everyone's running cares about the city because you wouldn't put the money up, you wouldn't take the time to go to these forums and talk to people and meet and greets and all that. I just think that I'm the best. I just think that no one matches me on qualifications. You know, just being authentically, I don't think anyone could fade me as far as what I bring to the table.
Absolutely.
And that's
even though you're a Kappa man, it's okay.
Yeah, you already know what it is. That's why you said that.
I'm just kidding.
But and it's a thin line between arrogance and confidence.
Absolutely.
It's a very thin line. But I always tell my friends, and especially my female friends, I always say, no one wants to be involved with a man that's not confident. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then why should she believe in you?
Absolutely.
So with taking that belief and applying it to myself in this race, if I don't feel that I'm the best person to take this position and do well in it, then why am I even campaigning?
Right.
Why was I on your show last week?
Right.
And show prior to that, and now
why'd you pay $800?
Right. Unexpectedly. So
absolutely.
And that's not to disparage anyone else running, but there's some good people running. Right. I just think I'm the best.
You are the best.
Yes, ma'am.
You are the best.
I believe that.
Absolutely.
Now, how long is the terms? Is it 2 consecutive terms, or what is the terms for in Compton for the mayor?
Well, the term is just 4 years. One term is 4 years. Compton doesn't have term limits, so essentially you can run every 4 years until you lost. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing. They have had some mayors who've served 3 terms, which is 12 years. Lately, they've been serving more like 8 years, which is 2 terms. But you do have that, one term is every 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. And ladies, I'd like to introduce you to Lawrence. We can see him on the screen now. Yeah. So wave. Look up at the screen. You're there.
Okay, I'm there. You can kind of see me. All right. What's going on, ladies? I hope you're having a pleasant evening because we're gonna talk about some good stuff.
We are.
So much fun stuff.
We are so much.
Great insight.
I know. Yikesradio.com.
Yeah, yikes.
Our technical situation is always exciting.
It is.
Last time I was here, she literally dropped the iPad.
I didn't do anything bad. We're having fun. That's how you know you're live, right?
Live podcasting, live video. It's important.
Moving on.
Right. Absolutely.
So thank you for that question.
Oh, you are welcome. You are welcome. All right. Well, here's your last chance.
That was it.
Hey, you come on. You got to make me feel inspired to change the city.
Feel inspired. Ooh, I feel pressured.
Pressured?
No pressure.
No, you're the change.
You ready?
I mean, I think I'm ready. There's been a history of the same. I'm looking for something different. I'm looking for something fresh. I'm looking for something new.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I am.
You got 10 individuals running for Compton.
Absolutely.
educationally, I'm tied with the other person who's running for office. So you knock off 3 or 4 other people. Now you only got 6 people left. Professionally, my entire work career has been in the public sector. So you knock off other 3 people. Now you only got 2 or 3 candidates left. Now, what separates me from those 3 is that bringing fresh ideas to the table that they've never expounded upon, never brought forward. No one's doing that. Being able to hit the ground running and expect and understanding that you're going to be criticized. One thing about the city of Compton, if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to make it.
Right.
You're going to be doing a lot of petty stuff, like going on Facebook, talking about other candidates when you shouldn't, and things of that nature. If you want someone who's going to come in, be professional, be mature, be an adult, and represent all of Compton, not the special interests, because I don't have this political party backing me or this group of people backing me. It's me and friends. Someone that's not connected to anybody. I'm the only person. And that's why I think I'm the best. Brand new day starts with me.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it. Oh my God.
So there we go.
I can't even imagine the energy. So we got a lot more. We got a little bit of more technical stuff we got going on. What you got?
We have tons of
Did you
tons
know
of
it
technical
sounds
things
good?
happening.
I didn't
We
gave-
popping tonight. We popping tonight,
I'm
y'all.
already breaking code. I didn't get Laura G my phone.
Oh, that's cool. That's rule number
Don't
1.
swipe
Rule
to the
number
left.
1. Don't
swipe
worry.
to the
I'm
left.
doing no swiping. No
You
swiping.
get in that gallery, you stuck in there for life.
No.
Yeah.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Why she not smiling?
I do not.
Why she not smiling? Oh,
You know what? We might just have to share a video. I don't know what's happening here, my friend. Did you find the link?
Tanya got a game face. She got a
She
game
ready to
face.
go.
She like, what's this show about? What men want? Oh yeah, poker face. She got a notepad and a pen underneath that camera.
You should be able to turn it, but I can see you on camera here. We might
Okay.
pull you up.
Let's do it.
Well, I can't make him happen.
Okay.
Where's the email?
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay, we're gonna talk about. We're gonna have some trivia tonight.
Here. Yeah.
That's a good time.
So tonight we're talking about relationships.
Did you see that? Did you get to see that? Candace Owens. Candace Owens.
Not her.
Uh-oh.
I was getting ready to say, not her, not her.
Uh-oh. Can y'all give me the history?
Shit.
Y'all don't want my opinion.
Oh,
I do. Yes, we do. You know we do. Because
Oh.
Celebrity Shelly, I don't know if you saw the ad. You got the celebrity tea time.
and she gave y'all 12 minutes of work. She gave y'all 12 minutes and 21 seconds of problem with women today.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
All right.
Oh.
So we got. You want my try?
Well, not yet.
I got a little
Here we go.
pop.
Oh, look, I see you. You're up there. We need to hear you.
Engineer, let's get right.
This is a very fun time, guys. I tell you, it's like Laurel and Hardy has a podcast, right?
Who gave them the controls?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Shake it off a bit. Shake it off. Shake it off.
We good.
We're good. We're good. We can all see you, Lawrence. Hey, how you
What's going
doing?
on? I'm
You
in the
see the
building.
lady? There we go. Lawrence is in the building. We're moving.
I see it. Yes, that is a good
Okay.
thing.
Tanya Michelle, can you please let us know the reasoning, what you got us doing tonight? Because I know this is something you brought to our show to us.
I think this for me was a different position that Candace Owen has taken that I've ever seen. I'm really not a fan of hers. But when it comes to feminism and what she's saying as role reversal and the expectation and what men like and what versus what women are trying to demonstrate versus how they run a household, I think that is pretty solid. And so I thought, wow, we like to talk about topics and, we all have varying opinions, which makes the show very interesting. But I think that what she's saying about feminism going too far is true to me. And so then I thought, hey, let's just see what everybody else thinks about this.
Right.
And so I know Lori's going to show some clips.
Absolutely.
And just to see the varying opinion, but I thought, normally I'm not a fan of hers, just to say this, because, she's so raw, she's so unfiltered, and she's, you just sometimes don't really know where
Oh, wow.
I didn't hear.
I said, and she was a Trumper.
Yes.
Trumper.
Yeah, and she was a Trumper, and I don't have a problem with that. I honestly don't. I have a problem that she was a Trumper, but I didn't like some of her position statements that she had,
Mm.
but that's when I thought that was very. It was more towards my thought process than I had ever seen with her. Not everything, but a lot of it. A lot of it.
Yeah. Well, I think to sum it up, I've tried to break it down in like a manageable, because I know you guys can be an unwielding group, right? Unwielding group, especially that one on the end down there. I'll tell you, you need to watch out.
I'm soaking it in right now.
I don't know, Lori. He's drinking
Is
his
that-
water. I'm like, oh, he's kind of smart.
All
I'm
right.
already.
Between Tanya Michelle and Lauren Speak, it's going to be a wild ride, guys.
Hold on
And
to your butts,
I-
Rodney.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. You see, I got my hand on right now.
Lawrence and I will probably agree on a lot of stuff.
you guys might.
You know what my
Absolutely.
instincts are saying? I think she's a professional bachelorette. Am I correct?
Who?
Tanya.
No. Oh, no. Tanya,
Well,
are
and-
you a professional bachelorette?
That was personal.
Welcome, Rodney.
you know what?
Welcome to the VOJ show.
I'm looking right.
Uncut.
I'm looking right here.
I am not.
We
I would,
behaved
like
last
to, I would like to know what made you think that in less than 5 minutes of meeting me.
Here we go.
I don't know.
Strap up.
Sometimes it's an instinct. I don't know. But I think when you were a professional bachelorette,
I've never been one. I've been married since I was 20.
Okay.
Wow.
So
No,
maybe
but
from
keep- but
18
keep
to
on
20.
going.
18 to 20.
Some people get them out of the way, then they jump into the institution.
Jump right in.
But that's just what my
That is
instincts say.
hilarious.
So that was probably college days.
Right.
So
So in my college days, what did you say about me?
Here we
In
go.
my 18 to 20 days, what did you say about me, Lawrence? I'm a professional bachelorette.
professional. We'll get to that later in the show. What exactly that
We
is.
do. Well, I'm
This
sure
is for
Candace
the
will bring
all-new
that
dating
out
game.
for us, the all-new dating game. I'd like to welcome the individuals in our Zoom room. Thank you for joining us. Again, be a part of the discussion. You can write things in the chat, which I think we have something in the chat already. Let me share what we have there. Stevie Johnson wrote, Candace is not my favorite person. You know, I have to say that I've never really heard or talked to Candace's, heard her rhetoric until I got this clip. So guys, we're going to talk about what men want in relationships.
Oh.
What do they want?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. We got 3 men in the house.
Three against two.
So we're going to hear what. Well, look, we got 2 ladies up there.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. Let me do my
So we got
math.
3 against 4. There we go.
Against four.
And then we're going to move into this definition of femininity, feminism, and masculinity. So I think it's going to be a fun-filled night, guys. So we're going to try to tackle this with Rashid playing just segments of this. I don't know. It's like a 12-minute clip, and I think we need to go through it in pieces because it's so much there. So Rashid, if you could bring up that clip, and if you could play from 43 seconds. No, I mean from the beginning to 35 seconds. Let's look at the first 35 seconds.
I swear to God, I'm not touching
Okay.
Then increasingly you're telling women to be the opposite of what I think men want, right? The opposite, maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's out naked, great, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. You know, that I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. So then you say men suck. And I ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right?
Yo, what's up, guys? Before we get started, go.
All right. So, gentlemen,
Ooh.
do you want a woman just walking around naked all the time? What's
At
happening?
home?
Yeah.
At home? Yeah. Yeah.
In the beginning, yes, we do it.
You do.
At home or in public?
At home.
Okay, yeah.
Or a little bit of
No,
both.
Of course, this would be at home. I would not want my woman practicing nudism.
Can you take that down so we can see each other?
Okay.
Okay.
Stop sharing.
Okay.
There we go. All right. There is everyone. Great.
But yeah, I don't want her practicing nudism like just all willy nilly out in public. That's not what I want at all.
But see, you know, and this is how I look at it. You meet a woman either in public somewhere at a club, and she's provocatively dressed. right? You meet her, she has something that shows all the curves and everything. When you meet her like that from day one, then how can you get mad at the fact that on day 28 and day 50 and day 100, she still dresses the same? That's how you met her. Now, if you talk about seeing somebody on social media and social networks, and then at some point in time you guys become involved with each other, and she's still dressing the same way she was, and now you're a couple, then I don't think any man wants another man to see his woman like that. But she's always been doing that forever and a day. So I think the issue is, where do you meet a woman that's not dressed like that, that you can live with? I think Miss Owens is right. And I'm kind of sick that I said that. You know? But yeah, I mean,
so Ms. Owens talks about that they want talking with women to be the sexualized. So you want your woman to be sexualized?
No, not at all.
No,
No.
But you meet her like on Instagram with this hanging out and that hanging out, and
well,
that okay. Hold on.
He fell down the well.
Hold on.
And then all of a sudden she can't have that hanging out.
Well, she sexualized herself though.
Right.
I mean, he and I didn't say, "Hey, let me take the picture of you." Then we posted it on our page for all these likes. That's what she did. So, you know, when a person has become sexualized and they did it to themselves, and then certain type of men are approaching them, you can't get mad at the kind of man that's approaching you because how you put yourself out there. If you put yourself out there as easy, guess what's going to happen? Guys that don't want to work, that want to get at you, are going to be the ones trying to get at you. People like us who might be workers, like, nah, that's low hanging fruit. I ain't got time for that.
Right.
I like that one, low hanging fruit.
Her question was really, do you want your women walking around the house naked all the time? That was specifically what she was saying, right?
That is
so depending on your sexual chemistry,
that's true.
That can fly for a few years. Eventually, it's gonna, evolve into something else. But in the beginning, that's usually what you both want.
Yeah.
You want to be a heightened, sense of sexuality. And then, things happen in a relationship in life. You guys eventually have to put on clothes because now you have to handle business.
Go outside, right?
But just says why? Why do you have to have clothes? Period.
I mean, because you can't go to the grocery store but naked. You have to eventually
that's
put on some clothes.
But if you're in the house, I mean, if I'm in the house, I mean, I'm cool. Okay.
Comfortable, whatever's comfortable for you.
So if I'm in the house and I just walk around in shorts all the time,
right?
I could do that.
Right.
But suppose that the woman I'm with wants to do the same thing. Walk around in shorts. And I like how that looks. I mean, we're inside the house. If what I feel for doesn't diminish over a period of time, although we all gain weight and gravity hits us all differently, but I still like that look, then is it cool that she still does that?
Yeah, I say until it gets weird. It's okay
Ladies,
to walk around.
If I start
Chat,
having
pretty
company
quiet.
over,
Yeah.
and my friends are actually coming over, put some damn clothes on.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you got kids.
But that's a blessing to be able to be that comfortable with your significant other that you can walk through the house.
Right.
Any woman that I'm with that is I want to say lucky enough to be in my home, but who happens to be there, that's one thing that I want to make them feel like, yo, it's okay. This is the last place where you're going to get judged being naked and all those curves and stretch marks. I love it all. So that's very important. And if you have somebody where you can be naked and always ready to go, that's a great thing. Because when that shit is gone, it's gone. And all you got is videos, pictures, and
memories, faded memories.
Faded memories, if you can remember.
Memories. Well, our Zoom room, Ms. Fisher, I'm not sure who this is, but Ms. Fisher in our Zoom room. I don't know if this is Chris. Chris, is this you? I think a conversation topic can be that we are coming from the perspective that, it's Morgan. I think a conversation topic can be that we are coming from the perspective that women are dressing this way for the male gaze. What is she feels body positive and loves sharing that body positivity for the world? That men just look at it, right? For the world and herself and her partner. What if she feels body positive? I think that's kind of what you were saying, right, Lawrence? That if she feels body positive, that it's not necessarily about the male gaze, that it's about her her sexuality and her being
Absolutely.
comfortable with
Absolutely.
being in her own
I
skin.
think that's why working out and taking care of yourself is so important, because once you get to your ideal weight or body image, you want to be out. You want people to appreciate the hard work that you've done. And so you wear tighter clothes. You don't wear baggier clothes when you lose weight. So yeah, so a woman who's never worn tights or a halter top or whatever, now she's wearing that. She's not doing it to be stalked or chased or to be
Okay.
whistled at. She's like, yo, I want to show as much skin as possible in the most appropriate way. I want to go to the beach in a two-piece now without a shawl. And it just so happened that guys are, physically attracted to that. But it's about, her confidence and being comfortable in their skin.
And I can understand because like mama, this is the online world. This is the social media world where literally, those type of images live forever, and people give judgments based off of what they see.
Mhm.
Now, she may not want to be judged in this particular fashion. I mean, no one wants to be judged in this particular fashion based off of just, what they see. Like, I'm gonna judge somebody by the context of their character, not just by, the color of their skin, but the context of their character. So, at the end of the day, these these men basically just see what they want.
Yeah.
They see a desire. They see a fantasy.
Yeah.
But
I'm like, so,
But-
so what do you, yes.
but the thing is,
That is
but
true.
the thing is that men, by nature, we're hunters.
Of course.
So let's go ahead and even the most refined man, of the CEO of whatever company, professional, whatever, we're all hunters. And what motivates the person that is the hunter? That visual.
Right.
When I see whatever I'm stalking over there, and I say, I'm gonna go ahead and capture that. I'm gonna go after that. When you're putting certain visuals up there, as you said,
Yeah.
because you're proud of your body, and you
Absolutely.
have that right for that.
Yeah.
You have to be aware that all three of us might go ahead and say, "Hey, keep grinding. Hey, I see your journey. I see your
Mhm.
progress." But there's gonna be somebody who says something hunter-like.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Mhm.
Hey, are you single? Hey, I would love to take you out. And those are the guys that slide into the DM and do
Yeah.
all this like that and everything.
Oh, trust me, I've seen, because I have female friends who literally are constantly getting, those special type of pics.
Okay.
And I mean
the special.
The special type of
Oh
the
my,
special type of pics.
But you have to ask your friends, what are they doing to get those pics?
that's right.
I mean, you very rarely get,
No, in fact, some aren't
that people
actually
in a
doing
church
anything
dress.
for it. In fact, they just living their life, and then just just out of nowhere, they just boom, they was sliding in the DMs with the pics.
I mean, that's just like you said, men
Ladies
are
of the chat,
just-
you're being pretty quiet right
They out
now.
there.
They're being real quiet.
Really quiet.
They soaking it in.
They're soaking it
They
in?
wait
Taking it
till we
in.
get to the good stuff.
Okay, let's play the next from now to 3 minutes. I think we get a lot
Hey,
more.
Lori, this is
Yes.
Tanya. But I'm not sure that. I think what she was saying is that there's some women that there's some dress code that is just too extreme, right? Everything is showing. And then there's some dress code that is sexy and just maybe shows a little bit. And I think men are attracted to both. They can be attracted to both. I think the question is the one that's always shown, even though that's what caught your attention to get her, is that the type of woman that you're going to stay with, that you're going to make serious? Because now what you'll end up doing is trying to change something in her because now you like it more than when you saw it. But that's who she is. And is she going to be the one that you continue to be with, probably marry and have the mother with your kids? Or are those two separate things? I think she was saying she didn't think that men wanted that type of woman permanently.
Okay, so I have a comparison.
Oh.
So now you see at these music awards back on that have been in the past, back when the outfits that the celebrities have worn. And some of these outfits have been really risque, so to speak.
Mhm.
Now, compare that to a adult film star who goes to the AVN.
Hmm.
Now, their dress code is a lot more proper, surprisingly enough, compared to these celebrities that are going to these Grammys, and these other, award shows. And it's kind of like, someone whose profession is to show it all, compared to someone whose profession is to entertain and to not have that show at all. It's kind of like that blurred line. It's like this comparison. Just like, how is it that someone that literally bears it all can actually dress properly compared to someone who doesn't have to bear it all, but chooses to when they go to these actual award shows for the attention.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, and because obviously I don't know the true insight of a woman, but I'm assuming that a lot of women do it obviously for gratification. If they wear something very skimpy or very revealing, and then you have some women who do it strictly for the brothers to get attention. You know what I mean? So, but in my opinion, it doesn't make her less of a wife or more of a wife. It's an interesting characteristic because eventually when you lock it down and you guys are in the institution of love, every situation it has to be approached appropriately. It's like, yo, I'm bringing you to my job dinner. You're definitely not going to wear what you just wore to the swap meet. So for her to have that,
Not the swap meet.
you're not gonna, your nipples ain't gonna be showing through your shirt, your camel toe ain't in. No, I don't. Oh, we can't say camel toe on this.
Not gonna
You
be.
say it, I can't say it.
So
Not gonna be in the baggy sweats.
hey, I ain't running for me.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, I wouldn't mind a woman who, like they said, a freak in the street, a queen in the sheets, or that's the other way around. Whatever, queen in the street, freak in the sheet. If she can turn it off and on, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the true essence of if she's definitely gonna be your queen. Like, turn it on when you want to, and turn it off when needs to be. If she doesn't have that conscious, then that's what you don't want.
And it also comes down to what kind of man
That
you
makes
are.
a lot of sense.
If you're comfortable with your woman going like that and it doesn't bother you, then as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. There's some men who are more conservative. They like the women to dress a certain type of way and things like that. So I'm never going to tell a woman, especially a woman that's not my woman, how she should or shouldn't dress. Right. And if you can pull it off, hey, that's a good look. If you can't pull it off, I'm not going to say that's a bad look. I'm going to go ahead and keep it pushing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's rough.
I think it's always going to come down to the mentality of the woman, no matter what she wears, because you can have a real estate woman making $30 million and she could be that woman walking down the street in the skimpy. Mm-hmm. So it's like she's doing it because she's feeling herself that morning, So
well, Derek Coleman from our Facebook news feed, he says that 1 second, D, let me get that. He was just stating that as a married couple, he says, I think that you should be able to accept one another's decisions on how you care to dress and how you want your partner to look. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
It should be agreed appropriation.
Yeah.
GA, agreed appropriation. So when you guys come out the dressing room, it's like, really, honey, this is what you're wearing? And she might be like, really, Lawrence, this is what you're wearing? All of your buttons unbuttoned, your top will be showing. Like, this is what we're doing?
So
like,
this is what we're doing now.
What we doing today?
Like, are we really showing off the goodies? Like, that's what we doing? And if they be like, yo, that's how we roll, then, but it should be mutual. You guys are an institution, so
it's
you have to compromise.
You know what? It's almost like you putting on a brand new white T-shirt and a brand new pair of gray sweatpants, and your girl saying, "Where you going? Where you going dressed like that today?"
Nowhere.
I mean, going to the dealership.
You going back and get some black ones or some jeans. That's what you gonna do. So, but. And it happens sometimes, or a man, all of a sudden, a man, starts taking the interest in his body, and he goes to the gym, and
That's
he
interesting.
and he didn't drop 30 pounds, and he's feeling himself, and he's not doing anything, and he's not doing anything improper. This internally, he may have said, I can't keep carrying this weight.
She
At
like,
some
you
point in time,
preparing
your
to
wife
leave
might,
me.
you-
That's
right.
what you're doing. You preparing to leave.
Exactly.
And that's
Where
a
do you
cold
think you going?
sight.
Especially she didn't say anything about your weight.
That's when the peach cobbler comes out.
Right.
You ain't
That's
going
really
nowhere, fat.
interesting.
Exactly.
That's really interesting when you because obviously there's relationship weight, what I mean, that you get,
Mhm.
and it's really interesting because I haven't been in a relationship long enough to go through that. Like, you
Right.
know what, baby, I want to lose this 35 pounds, and I want to. And she's like, what? We old and fat. Like, why you trying?
Right.
We got a girl. We got
Right.
kids.
Yeah, you got me.
It's like, but nah, like I want to be out there on the beach with my shirt off. She look like, what? So if you get in shape, I gotta get in shape.
Right.
So it should be a mutual thing, but it's really interesting how the insecurity grows when your spouse takes a hold of their health and their, mentality and get their life together.
Mhm.
And I think it's not them changing, but the other person changed because they
Mhm.
kind of feel like, wow, like he's eating differently. He don't even eat my spaghetti no more or my lasagna.
Right.
And it gets weird and people are complimenting him in public. So it's
Mhm.
just like, good luck to all you who have gotten to that point in the relationship. Because sometimes you just be like, why even work out, baby? We lumpy. I love you no matter what you look like. And let's just
lumpy.
It's called at the end of the day. Girl, I still
lumpiness.
got you. I still got you.
We're in
Lumpy.
love. We don't.
like that.
Yeah,
We're
lumpy.
lumpy.
We're lumpy together,
We love you together.
The lumpy togetherness.
and that works.
Okay, Rashid, let's look at the next, from where you stopped to 3 minutes. Let's see what Candace has to say about that.
Lumpy.
We could just start now.
Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We are almost at 300,000 subscribers, and we would love for you guys.
And really talking to them about these are the options that are being presented to you. Less. Take off more clothes, do the most to get attention, right? If you think that that's freedom, the idea that you have to wear less and the idea that you have to get naked to be heard, you really think that's a form of freedom? Because that's slavery, that's bondage. I didn't have to take off my clothes to be heard in society. And these women will realize that when you follow these people that are self-imposed feminists, I'm a feminist, I do this, I'm a feminist, you hear that word over and over and over again, you'll find that the majority of them are miserable. Look at their lives and ask yourself a question. Do you think they are happy? Do you feel good when you do what they do? Right? When you're constantly looking for a dopamine hit from social media because you took your clothes off and you want somebody in your comments, a thirst trap with your ass out, right? And you want someone in your comments going, oh, you slay, bae. You slayed the day, bae. Hashtag Tuesdays, am I right?
Yeah.
And you do this stuff for attention and you're devaluing yourself. And at the end of the day, you don't actually feel good and it's not going to bring you happiness, right? So yeah, you can get guys sliding in your DM. You can get guys telling you look good. You can get guys that want to sleep with you. How many of these people actually get guys that want to stay with you, right? Are not in somebody else's DM. The same way that you found him is the same way he's going to find somebody else because we are increasingly becoming a part of a society that's ADHD. You want to know why our grandparents stayed together? Because they weren't looking at ass cheeks all day on Instagram and refreshing it and going, oh, well, that girl looks younger, that girl looks better, that girl's face tuned, and I think that is what these young women that they're following are telling them. You've got 13-year-olds getting lip injections, right? Because they want to look like Kylie Jenner. Again, not a shot to Kylie Jenner, but what society have we created that ever made Kylie Jenner feel like she had to go out and buy those lips, that she had to contour her entire face and change her entire body? She was already a beautiful little girl. So the society is ill. It's not normal, right? Don't let these people convince you that that's normal. That's cancer, and that cancer will become contagious to you if you accept that. You don't follow better role models.
Pretty deep.
She said that was
Yes.
cancer.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
That's
pretty deep, right?
In my opinion, if your line of business is a direct reflection of your body parts, your physical attributes, then you're going to probably do whatever it takes to make your career last as long as possible. So a stripper, her brand is her body. You know what I mean? A woman who's a dentist, her brand is her skills and her trade. So it's like, it's really to each his own. Why would a stripper want to inject all that stuff? She's trying to compete, just like a basketball player or a football player. Why is he in the gym? He's trying to, add value to his attributes, so it can be faster, so it can be more of a commodity on the market. So, but the influence to the younger women, I think, is probably the detrimental part to it, because they're doing it just to be like somebody else compared to doing it for their occupation or for whatever, because cosmetic alteration is cosmetic alteration. If you've ever had braces, that altered your God-given structure to your grill. Same thing like a woman who got lip injection or got ass implants, she's altering the God-given structure. So I'm very hesitant when pointing figures in regards to cosmetic, you know what I mean? But if it has to do with your trade and your brand and your career, sometimes you have to do what you have to do, but just know that you're influencing younger girls.
But Lawrence, what if it has to do with my self-esteem and my concept of being? I mean, I think none of us can deny that social media has changed body imaging for young women.
Totally.
Right. And I think for young men too.
Totally.
Right. And so I don't know, what does that do in terms of click here, click here, is my lighting right, is my this, is my that? Have we as a society put too much emphasis on that?
It's interesting.
That's an interesting question.
Instagram or Facebook as looking at certain features where if you're under a certain age, you can't be able to access it. And they're looking at and for certain age groups, they're looking at taking off the like buttons, because studies have shown that people feel either good or bad about what they posted or about themselves, depending on how many likes. You might post a great picture up there, and it might just be a great picture and only get 35 likes.
This is true.
And you post then you go ahead and look at your picture, same pose, and you're getting 150. Now I'm going, well, what makes her better? And rivalries have started over Instagram amongst younger people.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Right.
There's a movie. There's a movie called The Social Experiment that talks about that.
Yeah.
And the psychology behind how social media
dilemma. I think it's called social dilemma.
She's right.
Okay, so I mean, we can try to shield our kids from these type of images, because it's like I'm at the end of the day, they're kids. Back in moment, do we believe that this is stuff that is appropriate for them to be viewing at this particular age? Probably not. But we live in a day and age where kids, when it comes to social media, they're on the rise. They are literally on the come up. They can actually operate technology better than most of us can.
Right.
They can lie about their age to actually get access to things that they shouldn't be able to get access to.
True.
And it's like, as parents, if parents are working full-time jobs, how are they going to police that? How are they going to be able to actually properly monitor what your child is doing, and then also monitor what other children are exposing to your child? Because you have entertainers like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. It's not made for kids. Definitely not.
Right. Yes.
But
they're gonna say it. There's nothing you can do to prevent them from saying it.
Exactly.
What's really interesting is that because the social media boom came when we're grown, so our security is pretty solid in regards to who we are and what can get to us. And I was talking to some teenagers or whatever. So the feeling that we get when we post something and say we get 43 likes or whatever, and we kind of get stung like that kind of did whatever, get 15. That if you multiply that by 1,000, that's how a freshman or a 10th grader or a 7th, like the impact of not getting those likes is really, it can be depressing they can be like, I don't want to go to school because I'm only getting 10 likes. They think I'm lame. It's a big thing that we can't even understand because we are completely detached from how impactful social media is. So we don't know what the result is going to be, but at the end of the day, we're lucky as grown-ups to be like, we got through it. We had to find our security through interaction with people, but they are finding it strictly through, boom, I just posted something. Oh, I got 300 likes. I'm back.
I mean,
Just like
Absolutely.
that overnight.
Morgan in our chat says that research has been done that shows when one receives likes on social media, it produces an amount of dopamine with each and every like.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Tanya?
Yeah,
Hey,
I
but
was,
regardless, yeah, I'm sorry.
so even Facebook, and I'm gonna go back to the other chart, but to add to this, Facebook even says they'll every now and then says, look how many likes you have, and they start rolling up your like pictures, right? You had 300 people like this, so they're promoting it too. And I think what the younger generation doesn't know is that I don't think that everybody gets to see what you post, or it rotates based on whatever it is. So somebody may not ever see your picture, and then somebody may see your picture. But I think my concern was, and I think I completely agree with Lawrence when he says, if this is what you need to do for your body and your profession to keep it up, that's one thing. But when you don't have to do that, that becomes a problem for me, is because it's like, how did we redefine what beauty was? When you look at Diane Carroll, when you go back and look at Felicia Rashad and some of these older, classy Black Tina Turner, they weren't doing all this physical changes to their bodies to make their self look better. So what happened when we changed the definition of what beauty looks like, and now it's become more cosmetic? My niece is 19. My niece is 20. My niece is 20. My little niece is 19, and she just got a butt lift and breast at 19. And so I was like, well, what made you do that? Why did you want to do that? And that's because that's what people are doing. And so how did we start defining that?
Question was,
Okay,
who
hold
paid
on.
for
I
that?
had a technical difficulty. Could you go back, rewind that?
There was a butt lift and
And
what
what
breast
age?
implants?
at 19.
So at 19, my little niece, great niece, has butt lift and breast.
Who paid for that?
Pay for that.
Okay. Her mother, right?
Oh, okay.
Uh, but it's a self-esteem issue for me, right? It's like self-esteem just begets low self-esteem, begets low self-esteem or whatever. And your daughter is telling you that's what she needs. First of all, the things that parents can afford now is way different than what parents could afford then. The things that are available now are way different than are available now. But how is it that at that age that's okay? Now, if you're 50 and want to do it, or 45, whatever you want to do, but at 18, 19, and 20, when you're still defining who you are as a person and you don't really know, how did we get to the point where that's what you need to make yourself feel better? I think that's
I think we got there with the emphasis, I think, on the likes and what I mean, I work for a university, and every year there's a huge thing between our freshman and sophomore classes because we're in the dramatic arts, right? And a part of that industry is the beautiful people, right? Okay. So they are posting and liking other people's stuff, and JoJo number 1 don't get as many likes as JoJo number 2, and so now it's a whole big thing, and this person is isolated to the point where, as Lawrence has said, there have been suicidal attempts. Oh, yeah. I've had to go to dorm rooms and check on kids who have taken too many pills or have attempted to try to take their lives. Yeah. Because and for me, I'm 137 years old, so I'm like, just turn off the damn thing. If you're not reading it, then you don't know what they say to you.
Not that
It's
easy.
easier said than done.
Just turn the shit off.
It's too addictive.
I
gotta look at my IG because I gotta see what's going on.
And here's the thing with
that's crazy.
Here's the thing with social media. It's turned a lot of people into two things: voyeurs, because we want to see what everybody else is doing and saying.
That's very true.
And I'm not a clinical psychiatrist and all that, but a lot of people have become narcissistic in the way that they move
yeah.
on social media.
Oh,
So
yes.
if you take those two things and you throw it at a person who's still mentally growing, a 13 and 14 and 50-year-old person, some of the emotions that they're feeling, we didn't feel those type of emotions until we got out into the real world.
Absolutely.
You know, because when we came up, we just cared that our boys stayed our boys.
Yeah. We're
No,
lucky. We're very lucky.
we had that one little crew, 4 or 5 people, and we was good from 3rd grade up through high school.
That's so true.
That's
You
true.
know,
That's
and we rocked together, and you only cared about if your boy liked your gear.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't care with strangers or people who didn't know you off your block. But now we have been conditioned to care about everybody on our Facebook page, liking what we say.
Mhm.
And most of them aren't even your friends. They couldn't even tell you where you live.
Well, the thing is, as I work with my students, is that in my opinion, you can become whoever you want to be on social media.
You can lie. I mean,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's
Of
no
course.
level of authenticity to that, right?
right.
I mean, Lawrence, as a filmmaker, you know, you
Yeah.
take something out of frame,
Mhm.
it's out of context now,
Mhm.
right? And it
Mhm.
can be whatever we want it to be, which
Absolutely.
is not necessarily true. Right.
Yeah.
So I think JoJo is living rich and famous and all of this other stuff. JoJo's not doing that because I don't have the context of the other things that went with that photo
Right.
or went with that post. And it
Yeah.
was interesting to me that this lady Candace uses the word cancer
Hmm.
because there's no cure for cancer, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really struggling to see where is the cure for this. That's not just impacting children. This is impacting middle-aged women. You know, I got some friends who just like can't, none of the current people included, but they can't go anywhere without their phone. They don't know what in heaven's name their children are doing
Yeah.
because they are engrossed on this phone.
You know what's so funny? I think there's two stories. I think what's gonna happen there's gonna be a social media revolution where people are just gonna completely detach. It's gonna be like the detached generation. And I don't know when that's coming, but that's just how young people think. You know what I mean? Something's gonna happen to where it's gonna be like the humans versus the social mediaites or whatever. But it's happening. We don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime, but it's definitely coming. Another thing is I was involved with the woman pre cosmetic adjustments and then post cosmetic adjustments. Intimately, you know what I mean, through both phases. And it was really, really interesting the level of how the security kind of went up and down. So before she was cool, you know what I mean, had some imperfections, and so she corrected those. And I remember when she came back and we got down, I was like, wow, like, you know, you look amazing in lingerie, you look good in your outfits or whatever. But there was a sense of insecurity in there in regards of like, do you really like it? Like, I don't know. I think I might do do this and that. So it was almost like she had fell down this well of it's never going to be what I really want.
Enough.
You know what I mean? I've altered God's structure. So now I'm really in a field of, you know, there's no turning back. You know what I mean? I can never take my butt back because I'm all over Instagram with a big butt. You know what I mean? So perfect example, you know, K Michelle's situation. She's ahead of the generation in regards to that cosmetic stuff. But I just found it very interesting. You would think they would be overly confident and I really feel me now. My breasts are full, my butt is out, my lips, my chin's cut. But it's like it can backfire. You know what I mean?
And
but
that's how you end up on botched.
yeah. So I'm
We've done shows on that before. Remember?
We have. I think the
So
chat,
yeah.
ladies, we did a show
did.
on
especially what you put in your butt. The butt is
body imaging.
gotta watch the butt.
Mhm.
You gotta
Morgan
be
in our
careful with
our
the
Zoom
butt.
room also says, I also think the alterations so younger are because women throughout time are being told what body types and figures are considered desirable. Previously, slimmer bodies and figures and thigh gaps were desirable. However, now curves, full lips, and bottoms are desired. But I feel that now Black women features are considered desirable, but not necessarily on our Black women. And it has an extreme negative effect on Black girls because they are consistently being told that their bodies are not enough and they are not desirable. But in terms of social media, it can be individuals looking for outward affirmations and praise.
That's
All
quite
true.
intense.
Thoughts?
True.
That's what I was saying earlier about the self-esteem of the I'm sorry, Shelley, the self-esteem of the women and young girls. What has happened that is shifted? I mean, it's just it's really bad that now instead of your esteem coming from who you believe you are, it has to come from. And I'm not saying nothing's wrong with having your body together. I mean, that's what we're all striving for healthiness, right? So I don't have a problem with that. But when that makes you, that's you live, that becomes you greater than your persona, greater than your philanthropy and all this other stuff that you're doing, that becomes why you exist. To me, that's a little bit too far. Too far.
It's dangerous.
That
It's
makes
very
sense.
dangerous.
What are you thinking, Laura J?
I agree. I think it is. And I do think narcissism and cases of narcissism are clearly on the rise. They're going undiagnosed amongst individuals because they are so caught up in the right lighting and imaging and all of that. The question
does
that I'd like to put on the table to discuss a little bit, which got my attention from the segment, was equating this movement with feminism. And how has feminism contributed to this movement or not? Are we supporting first wave feminism because we can dress however we want and post whatever we want and be whatever we want?
I mean, how would you define a feminist? Because there are many different ways to actually define a feminist.
Spectrum is pretty wide. It's widening actually.
Right, because you have the feminists that will literally, just just poetically bash men and everything. And there be those feminists that actually, want to be equal with men, and just want to, be on the same page. Then you have these the feminists that are literally just about, I'm a strong woman, I'm on my INDEP and DENT, if you know what that means,
Yeah.
type of business, which I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'm like, you on your independence, you making your moves, that's fine. That is perfectly naturally okay. It just comes down to which feminists are we talking about?
That's a
Because
good question because you can fall into many different traps if we don't clearly understand what a true feminist is, because you might be specifically talking about the one that always bashes men, when in actuality it's about the woman that's just like, I'm confident in this and that, I'm independent. So I think we should be a little bit more specific, maybe topic wise. Because if we just blanket it, then it's like, it
Right.
could get you into trouble.
I
Very
tend
fast.
I tend to when I talk to women and the subject of feminism comes up, I tend to just shut it down and walk away from it. And not because I'm afraid of the topic, but because I don't believe that the average woman who's talking about feminism is staying true to the definition and the initial intent of the word. It was about equality across the board, being treated as an equal. And then it broke down to the radical liberal feminism, to cultural feminism, and then it broke down further to man speaking and things that we are accused of doing sometimes. That I was like, okay, well, you're disrespecting me as a woman because you're talking a certain way. And he's like, oh, that's man speaking. So
mansplaining.
Mansplaining. So when it comes to this topic that we were talking about earlier and feminism, I don't equate, as Ms. Owen said, and others, feminism. I just kind of say, I kind of look at it like women are ceasing to allow men to tell them how they should dress, how their body should look. But conversely, all the imagery that women see causes them to think that their curves on a Black woman is not as desirable as the curves on non-Blacks. I believe someone said that in the chat.
Yes, in the chat.
And what causes that person to have that view? I'm not saying it's wrong. It has to be the imagery. Like, and to anyone who's thin out there in the world, no disrespect, but I don't really care for thin women. So I love seeing women with some weight and the curves. That's what moves me. So I've gone out with women who have been on this push to lose weight. Like you said earlier, I'm kind of like, well, why? Because you have to tread lightly on that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going, well, okay, did I maybe say something that made you think? Because right now I like what you look like right now.
Yeah.
And then I leave it alone.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, you've heard it here, folks. He likes his women with some meat on their bones.
But see how Smokey said, he says, I care for a thicker woman.
Well, come on, he's a politician. You've got to always make
like
sure.
it. I might have to add that to my arsenal.
Yes.
I care for it. I care for a thicker woman.
Right. But and that happens a lot. And it happens to men too. You don't think it, but a lot of times, I'm not sure about y'all, I'm older. But there was a time in high school when we had to go shirt and skin at PE. And I'm like, come on, man, I don't want to go skin today. Damn. I didn't get comfortable going shirt and skin until I got out of high school. Then you go into a park and you start to see all kind of body types. Some guys that are really in shape, some guys are thin, some guys are thinner than me, that whole spectrum, so you get comfortable.
Oh, no, I was skinny with abs back in high school.
Right. So that's a plus versus being skinny.
Yeah.
So that whole imagery that women face, that they're coming to deal with and taking control of, I'm going to find my own self. But then the imagery you see that everyone else is doing can be so persuasive that you want to join the crowd.
Absolutely.
What are you going to say, Shelley? See?
We have another message in our chat. Ms. Fisher says, I feel it's the systems in place that reinforce this. And it starts in systems as simple as our schooling. This start with hyper-sexualized and policing of women at very young ages. Wow. Ms. Fisher's getting a little deep on us.
That's
that.
true. She's speaking the truth. Next question.
Why do you tell your mate? So let's say you do have your gal and she's on this crash diet and you kind of really want her to stay where she's at, but you see that she's really on this binge to change and to go thinner. How do you really talk to her about that?
I'm not supporting that.
Wow.
I mean, hold on.
I'll say that. That's a true statement. I'm like, hey.
Like those words. I'm not supporting that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna use that.
When I met you, you was 210 or whatever. I met you, I was good with that. Now you dropping weight because you want to do some things health-wise. I get that. But then when you get to that danger zone and now you're starting to look a little bit too thin, I'm like, hey, diet got to end.
It's over.
I
It's
know.
done.
I know. I was involved with the woman who when I met her, she was definitely thick, a nice thick, and she got on her health tip, and she literally lost her butt. She and not saying that her whole persona was her butt, but it was definitely a part of the attraction when I first met her. But here's the thing: she got on her health tip, and she lost her butt, and then she became insecure about the butt and started wearing sweaters and shirts around it.
Right.
And I haven't seen her in a long time, and I've seen her again. I was like, wow, that's what we doing right now? She's like, I know it's gone. Huh? I was like, it's gone. Like, are you happy about that? But she completely lost that thing, and that thing was a part of her. And it was almost like, wow, like
you're a completely different person now.
Psychologically, like that butt is gone. It's gone. And you're trying to cover it up.
No more cushion for the pushing.
Yeah. So I don't even know what to tell.
I'm just saying.
But she wasn't fat. She wasn't fat at all. you just got to be careful. When you're on your health tip, your body is supposed to be at a certain dimension. You know what I mean? So, if you a big chick, you can't be that skinny, teeny weeny. You can't. Your body's gonna fight that.
And the average woman,
I can't be clashing pelvic bones.
I'm not touching that at all. I'm gonna go ahead and just gloss right over that.
What's wrong with Rashid today?
Gloss right over that.
Girl, we're gonna have to censor Rashid.
I tell you, my
You have to
goodness.
censor him. He needs some oxygen right now.
Right. And what's interesting, a lot of times when women say, I'm gonna go ahead and go on a diet, going back to the example you just gave, I always ask, I say, well, when you lose weight, where do you lose weight at first? Because some women will say, well, I lose it in my midsection, I lose it in my arms.
Rodney, why does that matter?
No.
Why does that
Lauren
matter?
said you lose your weight.
I mean, there are. Hold on.
I'm gonna go ahead and answer that question.
There are specific workouts.
Yes, exactly. That's why it matters, because going to what he said, I bet you his friend didn't know that losing that type of weight all at one time was going to change her entire body.
Yeah.
So if you know that you lose weight in certain areas, well then, okay, as you drop in weight, you might want to go ahead and start doing a weight training program so you don't drop it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with men. The average man can tell you that when I drop weight, I lose it in my arms first,
Oh, yeah,
or I lose it, or it takes me harder, or it takes me longer to hit my midsection.
Right.
So I know that once I drop on weight to hit this, I'm gonna lose some of my size in my arms. I'm gonna lose some size in my legs. And you prepare for that. A lot of women, when they do these weight drops, if they've been blessed not to have to do a lot of dieting in the course of their lives, they don't know where that weight's gonna drop off first.
That's true.
So suppose you lose weight in your face first, and everything else first, because that happens. A person starts eating food, and their arms stay the same, especially with men. The average man, he gets that belly first. He gets that belly first, and then everything else.
Right.
I'm just saying that is the first. He's
important.
right. He's right. The first place for me, like the first place I look in my face. So I think he's right. You have to pay attention to where you lose weight from, because that's important. Yeah. Definitely. You might have, like, for example, Lauren's friend, she should have probably been doing squats or a lot of lower body exercises.
Right.
Weight.
She was strict on her diet. She stopped eating meat. Yeah.
Right. So, and another thing, well, in her instance, it's different. Most people, she was going on a more cleaner diet, but in most instances for women, and I have to say the younger part of my life, it was about the number. Now it's not about the number for me, but a lot of times for women, it's about the number. They don't realize that in the areas they might lose it because they're looking at that number. Where men, it's like, man, if I start, I got to make sure I lift weights because I know my arms are going to get smaller, so I'm going to keep lifting weights. So I think that's the difference. Women look at the number where men look at body composition.
I look at the number, Shelley. Sure.
That's what I said. I think women look at the number. That's it.
No, I thought you said the number. You don't look at the number anymore.
I said women. That's the problem. Women look at the number. That's probably why Lawrence's friend lost it in her butt, because she was worried about, well, at that point, she was doing a health kick. But for me, I'll be honest, in my younger years, it was about the number. I didn't care where I lost it, but the number had to make sense to me. So that's what I'm saying. Women look more at number.
Guys, I'd just like to jump in here and let Rodney know that your popularity is growing. I'm getting text after text based on your comments and your discussion here. I like him. Look, you're getting votes right here.
The new mayor. The new mayor is getting.
Here we go. The new mayor. We're all going to the inauguration, guys. We're all going.
It's gonna be a party. Sure.
Exactly.
And them DMs are literally flooded right now.
So Candace goes on and talks more extensively about feminism. So let's listen to her perspective on that. So Lawrence, we're going to go from 3 minutes to 5 minutes and 19 seconds.
It seems to me a lot of women, when they hear conservative values, the trigger to them, and I could be wrong, the trigger to them, it seems as, bondage, go back in the kitchen, shut up and just, just be a slave to your husband. Why do you feel like there's so much of when they're hearing about some of the things that you say, like what makes you happy is making your husband a sandwich, some people like that sounds crazy, right? So why do you think there's such a disgust, such a rejection of that kind of idea of that kind of woman in regards to modern society?
Because we're being brainwashed via the education system.
Okay.
You learn feminism in school, right? You learn feminism. I had to actively
define
learn it.
And for clarification, how do you define feminism?
I can tell you how they define it and what it actually is, right? So feminism in school, when you learn it, is you're just fighting against the patriarchy, and you're supposed to see the patriarchy everywhere. It's the same way that critical race theory and race is being taught. The idea is they're not actually teaching you anything but how to hate white people when you're learning about race in school. And when you are learning about feminism, they're not actually teaching you anything other than how to hate men and to see the patriarchy and men putting you down everywhere, right? So when you have that form of psychological conditioning taking place in the school system, you're producing women that see the patriarchy everywhere. It becomes like a paranoia, right? Oh my God, if asked me to make a sandwich, oh my God, can I make a sandwich? And then that's it, I'm trapped. And they're actually not realizing that there actually was an incentive behind you even being taught that. You've never actually lived the life of making a husband a sandwich, and they think that's going to send you back, and suddenly you're going to lose your voting rights, and you're not going to be able to go get work. There was a time when there was a need for feminism, first wave feminism, right? But first wave feminists would want nothing to do with third wave feminists, which is where we're at today, right? Women that think that actually first wave feminists, you could argue, envied men. Right? They wanted to be able to go to work. They wanted to have that option to be something outside of the home. Right? Now we have that option, and we're being told the exact opposite, which is that everything in the home is bad. And that's what you call throwing out the baby with the bathwater. There are some really amazing things. I think the best things that come from being at home. Sometimes I think we got the bad end of the deal. Right? I'm like, wait, we got to stay at home and do nothing and spend our husband's money, and somebody complained?
Yeah.
That's a joke, guys.
That's a joke. But no, and to me, I think that's the part where, I've unfortunately seen that happen so much in society, that there's such a mischaracterization to me of what people think as stay-at-home mothers and traditional women. There's such a mischaracterization, like these women were prisoners,
right?
And so whereas, like you said, I think first wave feminism wanted women to have a choice, but then third wave, the choice is gone. You must choose what we want for
exactly
you, right?
What we want is you need to be top 40 Forbes company, a corporation. If you don't have that, then you somehow failed. And I'm like, that is so backwards and so wrong. And it also goes against biology. It goes against biology. There's a reason, biological underpinning to everything that we have in this society. People keep trying to outthink biology. It doesn't work that way, right? There's a reason, women can carry children and men can't. So that instantly allows man to have different goals in terms of the workforce than women, because that means we have to make a decision. Do we have children? Or continue working in our career, or try to juggle both. Men don't have that same pressure, and it's not their fault. They didn't design this. Men weren't like, well, I have an idea, let's not be able to carry children, only let women be able to do that. And so there's the biological reality of that, and increasingly you see women that go for it in terms of their career because they have the societal pressure, and then it's too late. And then they realize, wow, this job is not making me happy. But my gosh, can I just tell you as a new mom what you feel like when your son smiles at you? Like, when your baby looks up at you, there's no greater feeling of accomplishment. Like there is none. I have accomplished a lot in my life in terms of my career. And I can tell you there is nothing that satisfies me more than just my baby smiling at me. And we're taking that away from.
All right. The parental glow.
Now here in studio, guys, it went crazy. People had so many reactions to Miss Candace.
Mrs.
That's why next time I'm going to be in the studio.
You're coming to the studio.
I did.
We gotta
And
have them all.
I would love to hear what the reactions are, but I can tell you, I believe feminism has gone too far. I believe that there needs to be equality, like in the workforce, and there needs to be equality in decision making. But that first wave feminism who catered to their husband, who cooked and took care of their household, I think those women still need to exist. And I think there's a balance and there's a sexiness in being a woman who can cater to a man. And for some reason, we've misinterpreted that as being weak, and it's not.
Mhm.
Like today, I was talking to Joel, and I needed him to do something right for me, and in doing that, I was able to be feminine in my approach to get what I want. Now, is that weak, or is that just kind of, working what you got to get what you want, right? And so, um, I just think that there's still, I'm missing the studio conversation, Laura. You're laughing too damn hard.
Missing it. I told you you was a professional bachelor in that institution. I knew it. I knew I was right.
You knew you were right,
Let
Lawrence.
me
So,
do what I
I
gotta
mean,
do to.
but is it considered weakness, or is it that maybe he can do some things that I can't do, and maybe I can do some things that he can't do, and there's a balance in a relationship?
Mhm.
So I believe in feminism in the workforce. I'm not into this whole thing that women have to be stronger and men need to be weaker. To me, that's just not
Mhm.
biblical.
I
Um,
agree.
I just don't believe in that type of stuff. So that's where I'm struggling with today, because I have some men friends whose women don't cook at all because they have a full-time job, who don't keep the house at all, don't cater to them at all, don't give them maybe not rub their feet, whatever it is you guys do, because you work just as hard as he does. So there still needs to be a balance there for me. And so that's my thought, but I want to know what's going on in the studio.
I
Studio
totally agree.
members.
I agree with the balance. I'm gonna start off and say women have
But
definitely
bachelorettes
had the
don't think
short
like that,
end
Lawrence.
of this.
Bachelorettes don't think like that. That's an experienced married woman
Well,
that thinks.
you tapped into it a little bit. You tapped into it a little bit, but I think obviously women have had the short end of the stick for since the beginning of the time. So obviously black people have had struggle, but the way women have been treated forever is incredible. So to even get to where they are right now is incredible in itself. And it's almost like we want equality, but we also want balance. You know what I mean? Because it's like for when I'm walking with a female and I get on the outside of the curb, I'm doing that as a man, to protect, and to make my significant secure. You know what I mean? So for a woman to be like, you ain't got to do that. Why you always doing that all the time? I've had arguments.
If a car come, you can't stop it.
Yeah, I've had arguments with women who was just like, yo, you don't have to keep opening my door for me. Like arguing. You don't have to keep, geez, oh my God, we just went to 7-Eleven. You got to open it all. It's just like,
But see,
allow me to be a man.
I'm gonna go ahead and blame you for that though. Why would you keep arguing with someone who's not appreciative and receptive of your kindness?
I had to stop.
Yeah, but
crazy.
sometimes you got to go ahead and say, you know what, in your head, I'm good. You know what, my bad. I'm sorry for opening this door.
Yeah.
And just stop interacting less physically, because I know for a fact the next time she meets somebody brand new and that person doesn't even try to open that door, she's going to remember, man, he used to do that. She's going to remember, I didn't have it that good.
Yeah. But it goes to my point of like sometimes a woman has to allow a man to be a man and vice versa. You know what I mean? So, I like how she said it's about equality, but it's also about that balance, and we're always trying to find it. And that's kind of like the whole black stride. We're trying to find that as well. We don't want revenge or unequality. We want equality and balance.
Because feminism means that if someone's breaking in the house, I get the gun with you. And that ain't what I'm doing. If someone breaks in the house, I expect you to go see who that is. While I'm kind of waiting.
Joel.
Oh man.
See, it's tricky.
Talking about the sacrifice of the sacrifice.
If she going to the range more than I do, it's like I'm behind wifey.
Right.
She got that pain. I like, where's the safety on it?
I mean, I'm gonna get the bat, but I'm not gonna be the first one to go out there. I'm just not.
Right.
I think one of the things with feminism, from a male perspective, at some point in time, the movement got hijacked, and it took on a whole different meaning than the original push of it. Ms. Owens never answered the question of what does feminism mean.
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, schools mean one thing, and I have a different definition, and then she's talked about everything beyond what her point is. Right. And I think a lot of times people can't always explain it because what they're saying they want, either that word hasn't been developed yet, but maybe it's a couple words. I don't want to be objectified. I don't want to be judged because I put pictures up. I don't want to be touched and grabbed on because I have an outfit that complements my body. As a man, go ahead and let your eyes do your thing and say hi and be respectful, keep it pushing.
And it may
Maybe
be
that's
if
what
I have a
feminism
one night
is.
stand. If I have a one night stand, I don't want to be categorized as a hoe, right? Men can
Right.
have one night stands, women can't. So I think I've heard that in feminism too. If
Yeah,
I
and
respect my body and I take care of it, and I make a decision. Why is my decision different than from what a man does? Not that I
and
completely agree with it, but I heard the
What's going
statement.
on with Rashid?
and
Rashid.
and a perfect example, I stopped years ago, like maybe in my 20s. I stopped calling women hoes. First of all, it was never dope anyway. But when you're young, you say, you talk the way everybody around you talk. But going to what she just said, if I have a one night stand with a woman, I'm a gigolo, I'm a player, I'm a Mac, I'm all these things. But a woman does the same thing.
Yeah.
And she's a hoe, she's a hooker, she's a trick, she's a jump off. And I don't know why it hit me at that age back then, but I'm like, that's not cool to call somebody something for doing the same thing I might be doing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a part of feminism. If you don't call me a hoe, call him too. But if you're not gonna call him that, then don't call me that.
I mean, you have Amber Rose, who's taking the word slut and being
walk.
like, slut ain't the slut no more. You know what I mean? And what truly defines a hoe? Is it like sleeping with 3 people in 1 week, sleeping with 3 people in the whole month, sleeping with 3 people in 3 months? What is defining? Is it actually when you exchange money for your sexual favor? Like, is a hoe because your wife slept with your best friend? Like, you need to know what the spectrum is. Like a hoe,
That's a hoe.
real hoe is out there on Figueroa.
Not
That's
if
a
we had
hoe.
an arrangement.
On Christmas
No,
Eve getting that
your wife,
money.
my wife sleeping with my boy, she a hoe.
Not if there was an arrangement.
What that she cheated on me? What kind of arrangement is that?
What type of edible arrangement is this?
Was it a hall pass?
Like we've
I
done
ordered
shows.
this.
What is it called, ladies?
You get a
Remember we
hall
did a
pass?
relationship.
No, we did a show on a
relationship assistant. That's a particular
Assistant?
occupation
So I
that
can
an
be assistant
individual
too?
can have. You can be
I
a
can assist you too?
relationship assistant.
Well, first and foremost,
So basically,
I don't want that. I don't want that
wait,
assistant.
Wait. That is okay. The street name for that is called a side. Yeah.
Well, I'm
No, it's
old.
a relationship
It's
assistant.
called.
That's interesting.
That's the professional.
That term
No,
is very
different.
common.
That's the professional.
I don't want to be a side
The
piece.
real
I'm
term is a side man.
Side
a
man.
relationship consultant. I'm gonna give you this.
Relationship.
The first session is this.
And for some people that might
This
work.
is who Candace is with.
I mean, being honest, for some
Yes.
people that might. Well,
That's
me,
a husband.
that's why her ponytail look like that. Think about it. Come on. A black man would have said, "Baby, your ponytail ain't right. We gonna call your girl. You got about an hour and a half. You'll get that hit up. Then go do your show."
Oh my gosh.
Got her out here looking like Sideshow Bob.
Oh my God.
Because
We were all
Candace,
silently saying that. Yo, she can't be with her brother with
No,
that.
she can't be right. You already knew, right?
Something
you know,
going on.
that's
already
that's
knew.
that's funny because I was actually looking at her, almost saying the same
See?
thing because you know how she's physically representing herself as a black woman. Most black women won't, but she's and whatever she's hearing, I don't want to knock it but that just ain't me. That little twig needed to be tucked back there. But
every female on this panel got flavor. Like Lori got a
but you know what?
flavor.
But another thing,
You know.
but the crazy thing about that is do women, are they like that because they want to make sure that everything is nice and neat? Is she like that because she's really secure in her look and that doesn't matter or define her? No, because I'll say this.
No.
I've been to the beach and I've seen women who are 350, 400 pounds in a bikini, and I would not wear one. And I'm
Been to Glen Ivy. That's where you need to go.
And when
Uh-huh.
and when
And
I've seen
so-
that, and when I've seen that, my
What does
first
that
thought has
mean?
been, I wish I had the confidence
That's my
that
thought.
when I see a
Absolutely.
person wear something like that and they got their whole vibe, I don't laugh, I don't shake my head. I think I wish I had that level of confidence
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Because
But
at
that's
some
what I'm saying
level,
about
at some
Candace.
level, no,
That's what I'm saying
in the
about
case of Candace, I'm sorry. In the case of Candace, no, she knew better. She knows better because before she had this transformation to who she is now, when she was younger and her family sued the school district because her daughter was being treated improperly because she was black and they won that lawsuit and got some cash. Somebody
Yeah.
in her bloodline said, when we leave the house, our hair don't look like that. Now she may have forgot that. She may have
Yes.
forgot what grandmama and big auntie and her favorite older cousin told her. But nah, she don't get no pass for that. I wish my woman would lead out. I'm like, I'm not going.
But look, you gotta realize her being in an interracial relationship, you got cultural
Right.
compromising. So that pillow talk, he might, and this is just speculation, he might be like, you don't just wear your hair natural. Like where which
Just be
that's
you,
not
baby.
she got
Just be
personality.
you.
Yeah.
But those conversations is kind of like, I definitely don't want you to be out here with me looking ghetto. So you definitely ain't doing braids. You ain't definitely about
Right.
to have it.
That
So,
part.
and she's like, you're right. I should just wear, like, you don't know what kind of conversation it is, but it's like she should have some kind of flair. She's definitely on her natural tip, and I can't knock that. Michelle Obama was on her natural tip, but she still had some pizzazz
She's
to it.
just, her ponytail wasn't
But
like that though.
those those compromising conversations is
Rodney
really
cannot
interesting.
get over the ponytail.
It's tragic.
It's just
Wait,
it's
Lawrence,
tragic.
She got done working out.
Say it
Lawrence
again,
is
Tanya.
saying so true. What Lawrence is saying is so true about pillow talk, right?
Yeah.
That can
Pillow talk, man.
that's some strong. Those are some strong conversations.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question
I
to
don't
put
do
on the
pillow
table
talk.
that I kind of gleaned from this discussion is that um what Candace is saying is that women have it mixed up, right, in terms of what it means to be a feminist or free or equal rights, right? That it's not about oh, don't open the door for me or blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And because of that, they're wanting to compete in a man's world and delaying having children, making a family. She talks about her child smiling at her is the best thing. Do you think that women are waiting longer to have families? And do you believe they're waiting longer because of this whole idea of this third wave feminism?
I think they're waiting because sometimes they don't have a choice because of maybe their upbringing. They might need to work 2 or 3 jobs and have to really be on their grind. They're not really tripping off relationships or sexual encounters like that. So I don't. I mean, they definitely, women are definitely screaming about getting the bag and being on the independent tip. So, but if they didn't have to work 3 jobs, I don't think a woman should be out there working 3 or 4 jobs. You know what I'm saying? They should have a partner to help them out or a family structure that can help them out to where they can still go to school and just maybe have one job or whatever. But once they get in that whirlwind of that grind and trying to get to where they need to get, they definitely put family aside. And I think it's not necessarily a conscious choice. It's just like, I gotta have the best clothes. I want to have a nice car. I want to have my own apartment. So I think it's the structure, the economical structure, the upbringing.
But I like to think. Well, I'll give a personal example. I dated this woman. She was early 40s, and I've already had my kids. You know, my kids are adults, great kids. And while we were dating, she asked me, "Could I see myself being a father again?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, I see kids. I say, you know what? I love kids until they start crying. And I'm like, I couldn't do that. This jokingly, I thought this was a random conversation, and she said, I think about having kids. I'm like, well, why didn't you have kids earlier? Just in conversation. And she said because the career that she chose, she didn't want to fall behind.
Mm.
She said that she wanted to make a partner
Mm-hmm.
in an accounting firm, and like that, and she did.
Mhm.
But she said that when she was younger, she felt that by having kids, it would delay her path to getting there. There's some women because of the careers they choose.
Mm-hmm.
On top of what you said, as far as I want to attain certain things,
Yeah.
home and all that, which is very valid because men think the same way.
Yeah.
But some women choose careers,
Mhm.
want to be the chief executive at the hospital or the ER, or want to be, and you got to put the hours in.
Yeah.
You do.
And a lot
Yeah.
of times they don't necessarily have the time to take off X amount of time from work
Right.
to deliver to keep the child and
Right.
get back in the grind. Maybe
Mhm.
sometimes they say those 3 or 4 months might put me back a
Mm.
full year,
Mhm.
and I don't want to wait that long. But it's
And that's just occupational. Then you have physical things
exactly.
that women go through, and they, people have kids for the first time and be a completely different woman. Her sense
Yeah.
of humor gone, her
Yeah.
body shape or
Oh,
whatever. And
yeah.
you're right. She's just like, I don't know if I want to go through that because I don't know what's gonna happen. So,
Mhm.
women got it tough. You guys got it tough, yo. I
You
got it.
do.
It's really tough
And
out there for you
yeah,
guys.
for my daughter, I think she wants to get married. She wants to have kids. And but I think, you know, I did the career path while being a mother, and that's very, very hard. It's
Mhm.
very hard to do both and maintain a house. And Lori and the ladies of the chat will tell you. And while I was career path and being a mother, I was cooking 3 meals a day. I mean, for years, probably for about 20 years, and just trying to keep up with my own identity, try to figure out what he wants, trying to figure out what the kids want. And I think in that action, you lose self, right? And so as your kids get older and they see you as a teenager, something with the way that you handle stuff doesn't look desirable to them. They don't want to live like that. So they want to end up going, getting their career and then having kids, which ends up being later on in life. But I also listen to this guy who's controversial, and we can talk about him another day, named Kevin Samuels. And he talks about has as Kevin Samuels is something, he's a mess. But as you get older, your chances get slimmer, right? It's easier to find somebody that you can do all your first things with when you're younger. And as you get older, everybody starts having kids, may have been married. And so then your choices change too. So I don't know which way it is either way. But I know that, you know, if I look back, I'm happy about having my kids that I have now, but I wish I would have did it differently and not as been as young. Right. That's what I think. That's what I think I would want. To go back and actually live that life that way. I may not want it. Right. But I wish my kids kind of like grew up with me. I wish I was a little bit more mature, more settled than having to do it all together at one time, which was very, very difficult. I mean, I made it, but it was really, really hard.
Um, I think we definitely have to take in consideration that social media is making people stay younger longer. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
even if you are a grown up, 40, 50, or whatever, you still get into this youthful spell that you can do some outlandish young people stuff. You know what I mean? So I think social media is definitely making this generation stay younger longer. And it's probably the worst time to have kids. You know what I mean? So I think taking a career path, going hard, this is the best time ever to be independent, entrepreneurial, and go hard and get your career going and get your bag ready. You know what I mean? For family, as well as you're maturing at that same time. And hopefully you're kind of getting over social media, like, I'm not really on it like that. And you finally get to know yourself. And then, you bring children into the world and you have something to teach them,
For sure.
But if you're deep into social media and you popping out kids and you're looking for your views and likes, but out before feeding your kid in the morning, you're lost in the sauce. You know what I mean?
For
So
sure.
definitely take your time. Take your
Right.
time. But women have more of obviously a biological clock than men do. So we can never relate to how loud that clock gets. But like she said, it's nothing like seeing my child smile at me. And I wish I would never have it. I'm glad.
Well, Morgan in our
That's
Zoom room has weighed in again. She says, I feel that it's being viewed as an equal in a partnership and in society. I think she's referring to feminism. She views that I am being capable of being able to make my own decisions, stand up for myself. And in our partnership, we each have a role that we play. However, I shouldn't be responsible for working and additionally having to care for the household. It's moving away from the stigma around gender roles and norms. It's living from a place of partnership in all capital letters and equalitarianism. But I feel that it goes so radical because we are so far gone from I don't even know how to say that word.
Equalitarian.
Equilibrium. Let's use that one.
Equalitarianism.
Equalitarian. Yeah. System
Using
that
words
some
for the
feel
Saturday.
they must go to the
Using
extreme
Grammarly.
on either side.
Equilatrian.
I must say that Morgan is a teacher. So there we go. Morgan is a
Fair
teacher.
Morgan.
Hey, Morgan.
That makes sense. 'Cause I was like,
I'm
oh,
gonna say
Morgan's a teacher.
equilatrian. Equilatrian system that some
Exactly.
feel they must go to the
And
extreme
then,
on outside.
our faithful viewer, Jackie Fisher says, I believe it is harder to find a good partner earlier in life on both sides, whether you're man or woman.
that's
And she
true.
says, go Morgan with your big words. Go.
yes, girl.
Wow. Guys, it has been an amazing conversation. An amazing conversation. Time flies by. It's 7:46.
Did we even get to what a man wants in a relationship?
We
We
didn't even get
started
to
with that. We started what you want.
No, we didn't ask that.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes. Tell me what you want.
Okay, ladies, listen real close.
Uh-oh. Listen, Lawrence P.
This is the answer. What a man really wants is peace of mind. And that's it. If you can figure out how to give a man peace of mind,
Look at Shelly,
you
see.
will have the secret.
But
to
Lawrence,
what a
why
man
do I
wants.
have to figure that out?
I
Why
mean,
can't you tell
But that
me
wasn't the
what you
question.
want?
The question you
Peace of
asked
mind.
was, what does a man want?
See how
Now
she
you
already
changed
deserved, see how
Now
she
you
already
changed
deserved
the
my peace of
narrative.
mind.
Lori is changing the narrative.
Already killing vibes.
See,
No, no,
that's why Lawrence don't have peace.
changing
Because
the narrative.
look,
That's why you don't have no peace because women are changing the narrative.
a peace of mind is it's a blanket concept, but once you,
The bachelorette over here was quiet, see.
The Bachelorette was quiet.
that's why I had to give you one, because at the end of the day, peace of mind is a concept. You know what I mean? And,
That's
and
right.
men know no matter what age you at, we need that.
Peace
So
of
once you
mind.
know your
That's right.
man and you figure out what gives my man the peace of
Figure
mind,
out. All right, ladies, are you
then
hearing these
it
adjectives?
takes time though. It takes time though.
No, I
You know what
agree.
mean? But
And
But
that's
once you figure it out, then you have a calm man, you have a content man. Because
Mhm.
a man can be greedy sexually, but it's very few people that can give him that peace of mind. So it's he can cheat on you with his genitalia, but it's hard for him to cheat with that mind. You know what I mean? If you giving him peace of mind, he
Bro,
he's really screwing up.
Bro, I was riding with you until you gave that example.
Hey,
Then I was like jumping off.
what I'm saying, a man knows he really screwed
got off
up
the
when he
bus.
was with a woman that gave him peace of mind, because now he's just really out there
Okay.
doing physical stuff and having no peace of mind.
Okay, I got you.
So that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. And that's
Tied-
just one.
Tied it together. You brought it. Yeah.
There's other secrets,
All right.
but you
So,
have to,
ladies, 310-910-9676,
yeah,
extension 1.
in,
Call in. All right, Mr. Lister, what is peace of mind on your list? Is that what men want?
I mean, peace of mind is important. I think for me, I know personally, don't nag at me.
Ah,
See,
Which-
that falls
That's
under
peace
peace
of
of
mind.
mind.
Do type peace of mind.
Can't get away from that.
You know,
You can't.
I could deal. I know I have my flaws.
mhm.
And I had no problem with saying, with someone pointing it out, saying, "Hey, can you not do this, or maybe can you do that?" That's part of it's part of interacting and learning somebody, and you develop those things through the course of dating.
Mhm.
But my number one pet peeve, I mean, I would like women to cook because I like to cook. Go both ways, but
Right.
that's something that's sharing. But my number one thing, he made it sound much more eloquent.
Yeah.
Peace of mind, but nagging. You nagging me, I'm a zone out.
What is the definition of nagging?
Always
What is that?
complaining.
Complain? So I can't complain in our
I
relationship?
said always.
Oh,
Don't-
always
Don't forget the
complaining
first
is
word.
nagging?
See,
I
she's
didn't hear
changing
always.
the narrative.
You know what?
No, I'm not
Hey,
changing the
wow.
narrative. I'm just trying to understand.
No, I mean,
Wow.
well, I say, and maybe in some instances the woman has to keep saying something because you're not doing something.
Mhm.
I get
Is that
that.
nagging?
To me.
Because she hasn't figured out the form of communication that kind of makes you.
Okay, ladies,
that's
am
real
I out here
talk.
by
Kinda like-
myself?
kinda
But
like
I
how
keep
Tanya
hearing,
said.
I
Like
gotta
Tanya
figure
said,
out.
put-
Anybody else
No,
hear
Matter
that?
matter of fact, Tanya gave a perfect example.
She
Tanya
did.
said, you know, I needed my husband to do something,
Mhm.
and I used what I had to use to get him to say that. But she knew how to talk to him,
But you know
and,
what? It
and she
took.
never said
She knew his love language.
she knew his love
We
language.
did a show on love
She
languages.
knew the love language.
Let
Yeah,
me-
she
let me
knew.
just-
Go ahead, T.
Let me just say this. It took years for me to learn it because I think in relationships, we don't think we're nagging as women. We think that we're having a voice for our needs, right? Or we don't communicate effectively, or we say things that's differently. I had to learn how to get my point across without being a nag. And sometimes it was withholding information, and sometimes it was going depending on his mood and where he was at and where we were at that moment, made the determination of what we talked about, right? And so in learning that, in learning the book of the love languages, which I'm a big fan of that book. Now I know how to weave in and out and get what I need, still get my point across, but don't come across as a nag. And so for my husband would say a nag is somebody who says the same stuff over and over and over again. And why over and over and over again.
A nag wants out. She wants out.
Right.
She's just trying to chop down the tree. I'm gonna keep nagging him till he says something.
So if I ask you about different things every time, that's not nagging.
No, but you ask the same thing
It's
over.
nagging if I ask the same thing over and over.
Like, for
And
instance,
the tone,
And
too.
listen, Lori, the different things can't sound alike. They can't be of the same category, or they all blend them together.
Oh,
Can I tell you right now, pet peeve, if you ask me the same question 8 different ways, and it's the same question.
Oh,
Now
you
I'm
could
looking
do
at
my
you like,
best.
Shelly C has eliminated you as a prospect.
Hey.
Her profession.
Oh,
her
her
profession.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
because-
you could do that because I get the same exact question, but it is arranged 8 different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Around
But you-
around the third or fourth time, I'm recognizing, like, that's the same question. Now I'm trying to figure out.
Do you ask the person? Do you say like, "Baby, you asking me the same question? Why are you doing that?"
Well, as I become more wiser, I'm trying to find out why you asking the same question. Because
Because you don't
there's
think you're
something-
telling the truth.
Exactly.
Or oftentimes
Something
people
with my
think if you
answers.
ask it enough, that eventually you'll change your answer.
If I ask you, if I ask you,
Nope.
where were you, and you say, I was over here, and I come back and say, when I called you a little while ago, where were you? The answer is gonna still be, you was over there.
9 o'clock.
At a certain point in time, when you keep changing different words, and in the context of that is, where were you? I'm going, she doesn't believe me.
Yeah.
Why does
Trickery.
before I say, why you keep asking that same question, I want to find out, why don't you believe me? Baby, why you asking me where I was? I've already told you. Was there something I'm missing? That cuts through all that other stuff that cuts through the nagging, and now we can maybe rectify that.
Well, see, I like that. I like that adjustment
that
because
too.
successful relationships start with communication, and that's another show. But I think
Yeah.
communication is key. in
But
relationships.
everybody don't get that. Some people,
No.
if you really don't care for the person you're interacting with, and you know that it's just a here and now situation, you zone out and you start
I
hunting
hear it
again.
now.
You start to hunt again.
But yeah, ladies, that's what a man want. I hope you wrote that down
Pretty
in your
much.
notes.
Pretty
It's only
much.
3 words: peace of mind. If you can
Mind.
figure that
I don't
out,
know, Lawrence. We still got to come back. That's another show. We got to
It's
come
deep.
back and
He's
really
not
drill
wrong.
down on that.
I
peace
mean,
of mind.
you know, so funny. Women would be like, "Oh no, men just want sex." Actually,
No.
we just want to be able to be like, "Yo, I
Uh-oh.
love being
Tanya,
around
did you hear
'cause
that?
I can relax and
Look at
chill
Tanya.
and eat."
Look at
And
Tanya.
all
Look
that
at Tanya.
leads to sex. But if you
Yeah.
a nag or if you just irritating or just your tone, it's like, okay, we gonna do it, but I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I don't want to see your
right.
kids come in. I don't want to fix your. I don't change
But,
your oil.
but why you gonna do it if you feel that way?
Because we men.
We men.
Tooted and
And for us not to do it is anti-man.
Right.
If she gonna toot it, I gotta boot.
That was Lawrence, not Rodney.
Oh, man. Tooted it.
Go ahead, Tanya. Michelle has something.
I
Tanya,
got it.
But he is so right.
you got 1 minute.
He is so right. And I really, really, can't wait till I meet you in person now, but I really respect your honesty about men, because my husband, he could be pissed off or something that can be going on. I could come out full, whatever I'm trying to do to get what I do. Just because he does that doesn't mean it changes how he felt before sometimes, right? And so I've learned that all that peace of mind, all that, it just makes everything a better flow. And it took me a long time, trust me, because it was just misinterpretation of what we both thought of stuff.
Oh, welcome. Yeah.
We're all welcome.
We're
all welcome. Well, guys, we have we've reached
Tanya
our
in the
time.
house.
I tell you, ladies of the chat, once again, you have done an amazing job. Stevie Johnson from our Zoom room says, "Peace of mind is golden." Great show, and thank you all. I'd like to thank our next mayor, Mr. Lister.
Thank you.
All right, and much thanks to the most amazing cinematographer on the planet,
You know
Mr.
what?
Lawrence.
I used up all my
P.
data
Mia.
on this show. All my data. All 50 gigs is gone. I need some reimbursement. I'm out here.
He used all his data.
No,
All
it's been
right.
fun. Thanks for having me out, you guys.
Thank you for coming. All right, ladies. So we did it. Thank you guys so much.
All righty.
Any last words, Shelly C, Tanya Michelle?
No last words, darling.
Great show.
Vote. City of Compton.
One
vote.
last plug for voting.
Tuesday, April 20th. Tuesday.
420.
Compton.
Hey.
420.
Compton.
Inspire them there, Rodney. Tell them, get out there, right?
Get out there and vote.
Yes,
Make it happen.
Vote Lister. Let's do
Absolutely.
it.
We got to make a Rodney Lister theme song. We got to cook it up.
We got to cook it up.
We got to get them out there like artists.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And you will be here next week. Oh,
Great show, ladies.
yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. You have a good time?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's